Are you looking for a job that can lead to a career opportunity? MCC and OPS have teamed up to provide education training and job opportunities. We're looking for people that want to learn and work at the same time. We have open enrollment for training in the field of construction and job placement. For more information, contact us at 317-991-3150 or email info@mccindiana.org. Again, that phone number is 317-991-3150 or email info@mccindiana.org. Are you looking for a job that can lead to a career opportunity? MCC and OPS have teamed up to provide education training and job opportunities. We're looking for people that want to learn and work at the same time. We have open enrollment for training in the field of construction and job placement. For more information, contact us at 317-991-3150 or email info@mccindiana.org.
Black people need to own our own businesses, which will provide an economic base. Teach our youth to become self-sufficient. Learn how to maximize our political affiliations and fight for criminal justice reform. You just tuned in to Black Power Presents with your host, Antonio Lipscomb. Come on, let's talk.
All right, I am your host, Antonio Lipscomb, Black Power Presents. Listen, we have an informative broadcast that we're going to be doing today, and we're hoping that you all will just continue to stay tuned and watch. And I want to shed some light on some things. As you all see, I'm growing a beard out here. Normally, I don't grow beards and facial hair to this extent, but I'm actually doing a protest as it relates to the homicides that are happening here in Indianapolis, Indiana. For some strange reason, we feel as though we can just get a pass. What I mean by getting a pass, some of us in leadership feel that way. I'm not happy with our current sitting mayor and city council individuals. I feel like we can do better. Chief of police, I don't like his rhetoric. I feel like we can do better. And so I'm going to have to just go ahead and speak to this and do what I can do, and that's a protest. So if you would like to join me, if you're a male and you would like to join me, you want to grow some facial hair out, and I don't know how the sisters will be able to get involved. But until this homicides thing is looked at seriously, I'm going to continue to protest with the facial hair being grown out, just as a way of keeping the focus on homicides, because it's so easily readily available to us as far as a variety of different things that's happening to divert our attention away from homicides. And I understand there's some things are happening nationally and that affects us locally, as far as the corona, the vaccine, et cetera, et cetera. I think that they're doing a good job at covering that, but I'm trying to figure out how can we do a better job when we are dealing with the homicides here in Indianapolis. So I want to show you something. And as you all know, we're in the backdrop of our show, so we will be going on 92.7 and 1310. So 92.7 is on the FM and 1310 is on the AM. We will be going on the radio and talking about this and talking about some community corrections and how we could do better. I do have a gentleman that's going to become on, a local pastor, Reverend Jerry Davis is going to be coming on. He pastors one of the AME churches. He's a strong leader in our community that's going to be coming on. We're going to be talking about this. But let me try to share my screen and give you some reality of what's going on here in Indianapolis. And if you would, could you do me a favor and share, post this? I'm going to try to see what I can do to get as many people as I possibly can on here. But I want to show you some heavy statistics on, this homicide situation. I want you guys to be able to see it. I'm just going in my phone and I'm sharing to my different groups this information. I think that is something that really needs to be talked about. So I'm just kind of sharing this information as we go along. I just want you guys to be able to see the numbers and see how disproportionate. Sometimes it's hard to understand something without seeing it. And so we want you to be able to see what's going on when it comes to the homicides. We want you to be able to see it. And so here's a data sheet. I'm just trying to share it to all my groups real quick. You guys just bear with me to try to get the word out. But you're going to see how disproportionate the numbers are when it comes to the homicides. It's just unbelievable the amount of homicides that we see taking place. And I'm just going to try to share this to many people I can, because I need for you who are watching to like, share, post this video, let people know that we have come on and we want to talk about this problem with homicides in our community. It's just a terrible thing. So as you can see, here's a list of all of the homicides this year. I'm going to scroll this way. It kind of lists all the addresses and the dates. So the first homicide that took place in 2020 actually happened on the 1st of July, on the 4th, 2020, obviously, and it was actually a white male that was actually the first person that was a victim of homicides. But as you see, as we scroll up, you start seeing the outcome of those numbers begin to change swiftly. So we got one Caucasian person here, but then we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 black men on this list right here. So let me scroll up a little bit and go to the next list up here. When you see the number 17th page and you start seeing the numbers, let me scroll over a little bit so you get an idea as to what the dates are. Try to do the best I can to get you here, get you squared away here. So let me see. Let's look at the dates. Okay, here's some dates here. From January. Okay, this list is for January. Okay, we see a couple more Caucasian individuals, but then we see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blacks. So out of 7 people, excuse me, let me just count this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Out of 11 people, 1, 2, 3, 4 on this list is black out of 11. Now, keep in mind, Indianapolis makes up, as far as black people, we make up 23% of the population here in Marion County. And Indianapolis is the 23rd largest city here in America. So if you was looking at this from a statistic position, this should be the right number of the rate of African Americans passing away through homicides. This would probably be the right type of statistics should take place. But as I go to the next page, what do we see? We see nothing primarily but black individuals that are dominating this page here. So you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 out of, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Out of 10 people, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Out of 10, we got 8 people that have homicides. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We only have your commercial to play this hour, so you are going on 4 minutes early.
Okay, I'll be right with you then. Just count me in when you're ready. Okay.
Well, yeah, so literally, you got like 1 minute, literally.
Okay, that's fine. I'll come on. All right, not a problem. Okay, I just added on my good friend, Pastor Davis. He's going to be coming on shortly. But as we are sharing, we just want you guys to see actually what's going on as far as these homicides. We actually want you guys to see it for yourself. And they're going to be counting me in on the radio broadcast here pretty soon. So let me continue to share this. And we'll be coming on in a second. All right, so we're going to continue to share this as we're talking through this. Be coming on the radio in 1 second. You guys just be patient with me.
317-991-3150 for more information. Begin your new career path today. 317-991-3150.
Be coming on in a second.
Glad that you did. The following is a page.
All right, so if you want to be a part of this broadcast, just feel free to, again, dial 317-239-1310, and you'll be able to come on air with us. We'll do what we can to watch and see how we can get you involved as far as.
All right, Tony, I got your music playing now.
Okay. All right. So we're being counted in now.
15 seconds.
Okay, 15 seconds. All right.
And hey, the first couple minutes I gotta run to the restroom. It'll literally be like 1 minute though.
Okay. All right.
All right, you go on here.
All right. Hello, Facebook family and friends. It's yours truly, Antonio Lipscomb. I am your host again for another wonderful broadcast, Black Power Presents. And we're just excited about the opportunity to bring to you another show. As I was on Facebook with my Facebook family and friends, as well as YouTube watchers, I was showing a clip that I think that, not necessarily a clip, but just statistics on homicides. And I think that this disproportionate number of homicides here in Indianapolis is something that I think that we need to continue to watch and pray about. Not only just pray, I think we just need to really start making sure we keep an eye and a focus on this terrible. I know we got a pandemic far as, the coronavirus, and that's really bad, and it's taking a lot of people out right now. But I think that this homicide rate in Indianapolis is running neck and neck with this virus, and I think that we need to watch it, especially when it comes to African American people. And I'm also excited to let you guys know that I have Reverend Jerry Davis is waiting patiently, and we're going to bring him on and introduce him. But we're just excited about this show. Today we're going to be talking about the homicides. We're also going to be talking about the criminal justice system. And me and Pastor Davis have had some wonderful conversations offline. And I wanted to make sure I brought those type of conversations to you as well, so that you all can hear the mind of the faith-based believers and what we're trying to do behind the scenes. We don't have all our plans together, but we just wanted to bring this conversation in so that we can all talk about this. If you want to be a part of this broadcast, feel free, again, to call 317-239-1310. Do that and give us at least about 5 minutes so we can have some dialogue here. And then feel free to call in, and we'll take your calls and we'll talk about this. But I'm excited to have our guest. I'm going to bring him on now. Pastor Davis, how you doing, sir?
I am well, sir. How are you?
Oh, man, I'm excited. I've been excited all day. When I seen that you accepted our request, I said, look at my brother. He helping me out in the hour, the time of need. It was late in the hour, and my brother come through on a holiday weekend. And so we're just excited about having you. Pastor Davis, I just want to make very clear, man, that I have the utmost respect for you. There's not a lot of people that I look up to, but I must say that, from our conversations and the way you carry yourself, you're just somebody that is pretty special. And Indianapolis should be pleased to have a type of person like you who is serving with the genuine type of heart that you have. So God bless you, sir, and welcome to Black Power Presents.
Thank you. Thank you for the invitation. Glad to be here.
Oh, yeah. Well, Pastor, some people may not know who you are. So would you like to kind of share what you are and who what you do on a daily basis, and why pastor, man? Why pastor? What's going on with that?
Well, again, thank you so much for the invitation. And my name is Reverend Jerry E. Davis III. I am the pastor of Crossroads African Methodist Episcopal Church. We are a multi-site church located at 4602 North College Avenue in Indianapolis, Indiana, as well as 3201 North Capitol Avenue here in the great city of Indianapolis. What do I do on a daily basis? I pastor God's people within the four walls and outside of the four walls in a virtual space as we have all either adapted to or have changed to serve the needs of the community in this age. Crossroads exists to build transformational communities, one person at a time. We like to remind ourselves and inform others that Crossroads is simply the place where faith and light merge. We are in the midst of celebrating our 2-year anniversary this month. And this conversation, reentry, is one that is close to my heart and one that is a passion of mine because I believe and recognize that coming out of prison, coming out of jail is a station in life where we find ourselves at the crossroads. And Crossroads was founded, Crossroads was established literally to meet people at the crossroads. So we're so excited to be able to come and to learn from you and to share with you, to imagine and envision with you, to help those who are looking to find their way, having gone through some period of incarceration.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now, one of the things that I guess we probably can't ignore, and that's the fact that the homicide rate is something that I think should be alarming, Pastor. And we're going to get to that, reentry. A lot of times people say, well, what are you trying to do prior to? How are we trying to prevent and whatnot? And one of the things I see very clearly, I was sharing this list. I don't know if you were able to see it earlier, Pastor. I'm going to try to bring this list on again. I think it's alarming and concerning when it comes to the actual numbers. And I'm pulling up the numbers. The radio listening audience can't see these actual sheets. But if you was to go on this database, just simply type in Indianapolis, Indiana homicides, you will see a number of different people. And the problem what you'll see when you look at race, you're going to see a common theme primarily, which we will see, which is a constant, is black male on these different sheets. I mean, that's what the standing out statistics look like. I mean, one page after another, we see primarily black male, black male, black male, black male. We got a Hispanic person in there. We may have a white person in there. We see a few black females in there. But I think the dominant amount of people that I'm seeing on these lists all throughout the year, which is a record-breaking year, as you can see as I'm turning pages, the list goes on and on. A black male. You see a sprinkled black female in there periodically. You see an Asian in there periodically. You see a white female in there periodically. But primarily, when you look at homicides, the people that dominate these statistics is primarily African-American males. And I just wanted to get us to see a visual of this, because sometimes when people can't see it, then they don't really recognize it to the point or to the degree that they see that this is being an issue. But this is primarily, if you look at it from a statistical position, an African-American male problem. I mean, I'm talking about when you look at the vast numbers. Pastor, what do you say about that? Because I know there's funerals and whatnot that people are doing. I just came from a funeral where one of my other pastor friends was doing this weekend. What do you say about this? How can we make a difference in this area, faith-based community?
Well, first, to make a difference, we have to have a problem in, and we can't look at homicide statistics even as it relates to various demographics and look at those stats in a vacuum. There is something beneath those numbers that are causing those numbers to exist. So what are we looking at in terms of employment? What are we looking at in terms of education? What are we looking at in terms of how we engage each other in terms of conflict? What is the source of these conflicts? What do we have to engage our community in terms of productive activities and productive activities that enable us to rise out of the station that we find ourselves in. I preached this summer about the tree of life and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. And what I shared with my congregation is when God planted the tree of life, the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, he gave us equal access to a tree that would enable us to live and a tree that would lead to death. Equal access to a tree that would lead to life and a tree that would lead to death. My concern is when we look at rates of homicide and talk and repeat this narrative on black crime, my concern is society has placed a tree that leads to death in easy proximity to Black folks, but does not place a tree that leads to life in easy proximity to Black folks. And so when we look at these numbers, I really believe that there are additional questions that we need to ask before we immediately call ourselves reaching for a solution.
Yes, sir. Now, Pastor, sometimes I get myself in trouble because I want to speak loud and clear the truth as it relates to this problem, because I do agree with you that those issues that you just mentioned are some of the key issues that we need to look at. However, we both are strategic minds, and we understand leadership, we understand authority. And with that being the case, we have to look at how these homicides are being solved, not being solved. How is the information as it relates to how, like you mentioned earlier, the demographics, how are we strategically trying to go into these areas with the mind of reaching those individuals who are high risk. For example, I got a pastor friend of mine that pastors, he's a white Caucasian pastors. He pastors south in Indianapolis, like the south side of Indianapolis. He works very closely with the police department. So any high risk individual that toting guns, maybe be selling drugs out of a house or whatever, he gets together with the police department and literally goes to that individual's door and gives them an opportunity to get those services that you mentioned to that individual. And I wish we had a chief of police. I was listening to the chief of police, and he began to talk about how the police in our community are responders. They're not a police that are looking to walk alongside us to prevent crimes. They mainly respond to crime, and after the crime has been committed, then that's when they try to find a solution. Now, the problem I have with that method is the fact that a lot of the times when police are coming to your door and you don't know who they are and they're a stranger, and then they wonder why most people don't want to cooperate with the police, it's simply because it's a stranger coming to your door. They never have made themselves available prior to a crime. Now there's the most sensitive situation that's happened, and now all of a sudden you invite a stranger in there, and it's amazing how you're treated. I'm being a little long-winded, but please bear with me, Pastor. This happened to me recently. I actually had my phone, and I didn't understand how the iPhone worked, and I think I must have pressed it to where the actual features began to bloom out, and I thought the phone was broke. So I'm going to the store trying to figure out what's going on. They told me you can just hit it 3 times and tap it and the Zoom go down. But I actually was calling the police on the phone and didn't know it. Now the police shows up at my door. he's trying to look at me like I'm a criminal, like what's going on here? I'm like, man, I just clicked my phone. No one called you. I accidentally clicked my phone. But I'm saying, the reason why I'm saying that is because when they come to your door, they're looking for a criminal. They're looking for somebody they can arrest. Instead of, prior to that happening, why not make yourself available instead of sitting on the side of a parking lot of a drugstore or a gas station? Why not find ways that they can intermingle with faith-based believers like yourselves and others to kind of make themselves known, so when we have these problems operate in our community, we can operate together collectively and be in front of the problem instead of trying to be behind it. What do you say about that, Pastor?
Well, I think it speaks to the importance of the strategy between the tragedies. And so often in the faith community, often even in the Black community, our voices are the loudest when a tragedy has occurred. Yes. And the issue with that is we're responding to symptoms and not to sickness.
Wow. And as you're talking, Pastor, I'm hearing gunshots right out beside my window over here on Meridian Street. I've been hearing guns. People have been shooting over here like crazy. But go ahead, Pastor.
Sure. The gunshots are yet another symptom. I think we have to explore the sickness. And so one sickness that exists in our community is apathy. You know, we just don't care. And it's not real unless it's in our face. And so I think while we are in a period where thankfully we are not responding to a current tragedy, is the time to begin initiating relationships.
Yes.
That's the first thing. The second thing is we have to be strategic about initiating relationships on a small micro basis as opposed to a high macro basis. And so as opposed to necessarily initiating a conversation with the chief of police, can we initiate a conversation with a patrol car that is in the parking lot of an apartment building or in the parking lot of a gas station? Can we begin a one-on-one conversation and several one-on-one conversations to begin to affect the corner where we are, the intersection where we are? I think that if we could all affect the intersection where we are, and if all affect the intersection, I think that would have a greater impact. Theologically, it was Jesus who initiated a relationship with us, and we responded to that.
Right.
As the body of Christ in the 21st century, that is the model that we have to follow. So at Crossroads, we are not just there to meet people at the crossroads of their lives, but we look to be at the crossroads of community relationships. And law enforcement is one of those types of relationships that we look to engage. So I think there has to be an attitude where we make up in our minds that we're going to be proactive as opposed to being reactive, and use the time where we are not reacting to tragedy to make sure that the sickness is being addressed.
Oh, well, that's powerful. And I knew you was going to bring it when you came to the show. Listen, for my radio listeners, if you got a question for Pastor Jerry Davis, he's pastor over Crossroads Church, AME Church, a wonderful church, wonderful congregation, located right here in Indianapolis, Indiana. If you got some questions or comments that you have for him, feel free to dial 317-239-1310. We're excited about having a wonderful conversation. Even though it's a hard conversation, it's a definitely needed conversation. Now, Pastor, I will say to you this. We just did Souls to the Polls, right? I mean, we push out people. We want people to go and vote. Hoorah! Vote, 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 vote. And I'm with that. I went and I voted, right? But at the same time, the problem is we ask the saints to vote, but then after we vote, how are we holding our elected officials accountable? This is the reason why I say this, Pastor. I say this because I was listening to our mayor and others, people that are involved with the police department. And one of the things they say, this homicide problem's a problem, Black people killing each other all across the country. So it's a problem everywhere. And I felt like that is such a disrespectful way of saying something. And, we've been accustomed to just kind of going along with it, but that is so disrespectful. I mean, if this is your nephew, if this is your brother, if this is your cousin, if this is somebody that you believe in, one of your leaders that you can identify with, or somebody that you hold dear in your heart, there's no way on God's green earth you would treat them as such a statistic and not understand the real value of their soul, of their life. And I know it's not a prideful moment for pastors to have to catch these people when they have lost these young men that could possibly, be there to raise their kids. We're catching them on the back end and not being able to minister to them properly on the front end. So somebody has to be held accountable. And here's the thing, I'm not hating. I understand the problem I have when I say stuff like this, because our mayor currently is a popular mayor. He won the vote by 71%. So I know I'm not really, being probably popular right now, but my heart is hurt because of all these young Black men that are dying, killing each other, and the level of like you just mentioned, empathy, the lack of real concern and care for these young men is not being demonstrated by our leaders. And I need us to hold those guys accountable. Hey, Pastor, we got a call. Go ahead, Larry. Call on line 1. Go ahead.
Hey, there was a song, if you don't respect yourself, ain't nobody going to give a good cahoot. That's where it's at now. Every day we have a continuous stream of poison being spewed from our Black media here in town, showing these men the way that they should live their lives, selling dope to their community, buying diamonds, buying Lamborghinis, dressing up like homosexuals, and that's what our boys are doing. I mean, they don't have any other example to follow except that life imitates art. And I think what needs to really happen, Pastor, all these mitigation programs need to stop immediately, because we're not doing anything to help it, but pouring gas on the fire when we allow our elected officials to shirk their responsibility. Every program that is helping somebody that have fallen on bad times because of statutory enactments, that's a statutory slave, we need to end those programs immediately and let the state of Indiana spend the money now.
All right. We've heard from Larry. What do you say about what Larry was saying, Pastor?
There was a whole lot of what he had said. I think a couple of things. Love of self is at the root of the killings that we see. I would submit that white supremacy is really at the root of the problems that we see and the problems that we face. In general, whiteness is celebrated. In general, Blackness is criminalized. And after a while, the celebration of whiteness and criminalization of Blackness becomes internalized. And when you see over and over and over and over and over again in the media that the solution to problems, we'll use that term loosely, in the Black community is to kill the Black perpetrator without process. After a while, that becomes internalized. And so on one hand, we protest and we say Black Lives Matter. But on the other side of that coin is the internalization of the idea that the only way to resolve an issue with a Black person is to kill that Black person. And so I believe that when we talk about these mitigating programs, when we talk about ways in which we address the violence that occurs in our community, I think that part of that process has to include a transforming of our mind, as Scripture says. The only way that we can be transformed, rather, is to be transformed by the renewing of our mind.
Right.
So I think at the source of this, there has to be an appreciation of the value of the Black life, even among Black people. But then I think we need to be careful, because the statistics will tell us that most crime happens within your ethnicity. And so when we talk about Black on Black crime, the crimes that Blacks commit amongst Blacks is not a statistical anomaly, because most of the time, crimes are committed among your ethnicity. That said, I still argue that at the root of what we are dealing with is white supremacy, which then dictates and determines what our value system is. And so in America, if we say that there is such a thing as an American dream, and what are the meanings of the American dream, and what means do you have in order to obtain the American dream?
That's right.
In neighborhoods that are highly densely populated with Blacks, you don't have the same paths to the American dream that you have in mostly white neighborhoods. So,
and we're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that.
Get it? A violent path to that. So I think in the renewing of our minds, we have to have a sense of what it is we are on earth for. And we have not been put on earth simply to get a Lamborghini, a fancy car, or whatever else is within the frame of that picture of what the American dream.
And so that was powerful, Pastor. And we're going to get to a part of that you're referring to as it relates to, some things that we can come up with. Caller, go ahead with your question and comment.
Yes, sir. I think that being an African American male to be in a negative light is because I didn't have a parent. I had living parents, but I didn't mainly have a father, because I knew who my father was. That was one. And two, across the United States of America, they never cared or loved or nurtured or taught Black males in schools. So we're going to have to either get with the system to work with us, surround our communities, and reteach these 18-year-olds, 35-year-olds, 45-year-olds. And because it's out of hand. It's out of hand. So we can't continue to see our Black brothers and sisters die or have a bias towards them. And we're going to admit it. I'm going to admit it. It's dangerous out there. They're dangerous, but they can be reached. We're going to have to continue to prayer warriors. We're going to have to.
Well, thank you, caller, for your comments. We got the gist of what you were saying. Now, he raised a strong point, Pastor, and I think it kind of leads into what we're going to talk about, why I initially invited you onto the show, and that's primarily to talk about, somewhat of solutions. We're not gonna give all of everything we got out, because we trying to strengthen it and make it, even tighter. But one, he brought about parenting, which I think is important. But even before we get to parenting, you raised a strong point of when it comes to white supremacy and suppression. A lot of times that, to me, translates into investment. In other words, if I can keep the certain, because we talked about the level of different conventional services, which we know, far as investment, when it comes from the state and the community, I think that's something Larry tagged on with, is very minimal. When it comes to even Shauna Majors and her group, violence reduction team or whatever, the investment in the community is very minimum. When you see the large amount of money that most people get, most groups get, primarily that money, 35%, anywhere from 30 to 35% goes to the police and policing. It doesn't go toward, you get 5% for recreation and parks and stuff like that. But the majority, a lot of the budget, the city budget, goes toward policing. So on two fronts, we got one, investment, and the other one we got is also the parenting. You want to kind of talk about that for a minute, Pastor?
So, an expert in philanthropy and nonprofits recently say that grants typically give you just enough money to go out of business.
Wow.
And it was sobering for those who have great ideas, great passion, and want to do the work, but understand that the work takes money and are eager to go after, grants and spend a lot of time, spend a lot of energy, a lot of capital in obtaining a 501c3 accreditation, only to be given barely enough money just to go out of business when those grant funds run out. So as I even explore as a pastor and one who is engaged in the work, what model is best suited to actually make a difference? My concern is a lot of nonprofits work to get money, and the work to get money often overshadows the work to make a difference. And so those who have money, those who have wealth, those who have resources, those who are in a position to fund different projects, in a way, enable the status quo. And they enable the status quo by taking very large sums of money and dividing those large sums of money into very small amounts of money, broken up among several nonprofits that only have enough money to go out of business. And so I think that what this season calls for is an approach that says it's not going to be just about me and mine and my little organization and the little bit of money my little organization can get. I think that the issues that we are dealing with as a community require all of these little organizations to come together as consortiums and as collaborations and go after large pots of money as consortiums, so that we can exist not for the purpose of being awarded a grant,
Right.
but exist for the purpose of collaboratively moving the needle in our communities.
That's powerful, Pastor. Go ahead, caller, if you got a comment or a question. Hey, who am I talking with?
It's James.
James, go ahead, James, with your comment, a question.
Yeah. The problem in Naptown, we got too many grant chasers in the black community. I don't hear the main principle is fathers. Put fathers in the home, and you wouldn't need government to play daddy to the black community. That's the problem that we have.
Hold on for 1 second. Hold on for 1 second, because I want to challenge that for a moment. 1 out of 4 black men are locked up. Black men make up 7% of America's population, yet we represent 40.2% of the criminal justice system. It's very clear from the time of slavery, even on up to today, that the criminal justice system is used primarily to lock up black men. So how can we get the black men from being locked up when the criminal justice system is working against it to have these black men not be present? Go ahead.
Yeah, that theory sounds good, but we're not in slavery now. It's all about choices. We can make the right choice. I heard we talking about white supremacy. In this situation going on, I don't see the white man stopping the black man to be the father in his house. So that theory sounds good. We must make right choices. If the black man do the right thing, take care of your children, don't get out here, like Larry said, sell dope, and we always talk about music is interfering with our families. Turn the radio off and be a father. And like I said, quit running, taking grants, and quit letting the government being daddy of the black community. Thanks.
Okay, thank you for your comments. I would have to say, Pastor, and I'm gonna go ahead and give a response to that. Now, first of all, when you look at the grants, and please correct me if I'm wrong, Pastor, but African Americans make up 23% of Marion County's population. Marion County is the 12th largest city in America. When you pay taxes as a taxpayer, it's not that you're chasing the money. It's just that when you pay taxes, when the money comes back, it's supposed to be appropriated to the particular races of people based on the percentage of the representation of that group. Now, when you look at the investment from the city and you look at how much is actually getting in the hands of black groups, you see that amount is very minimum when it comes to the proper investment when it's supposed to get back in the hands of the people that need it the most in our community. Secondly, I do agree with the fact that black men need to do right, but there's plenty of black men that are locked up right now and they hadn't done anything. So just to turn a blind eye and a deaf ear to not understand the way the criminal justice, not from slavery, but I'm saying from slavery to up until this point, to this existing hour as I sit right now with racial profiling, you can be driving and get stopped while black. You understand that this has been something that's been created, systemic racism that's been built into the very fabric of this country. Would you agree with that, Pastor?
I would completely agree, and I want to commend the brother for calling in and articulating so well that it is not, and I'll put this word in, not necessarily the white man or even a white man in particular that keeps any black man from making the right decision.
Right.
And I want to be clear. I did not say that it was white supremacists that keep us from getting ahead. I said it was white supremacy that keeps us from getting ahead. And
that's right.
White supremacy, not a person, but an idea, is in the heads, in the skulls, in the brains, in the mind, even of black people. And so oftentimes, and I'll agree with the brother, oftentimes it is a black woman, a black person who has adopted the idea of white supremacy that keeps a black person or black community from getting ahead. The second thing that I will say is, anytime I've gotten a job, the person that hired me didn't hire me one day and then ignore me every day until it was time for my review. But every time I got paid, every Every time there was a meeting, every time there was a check-in, I was being held accountable for doing what I was hired to do. And I was hired not much because of who I was, but I was hired because of how my skills and abilities matched what the job was. And I say that to relate the idea that when we vote for folks, we are literally hiring them.
Right.
Don't wait until the next hiring day to hold the person you hired accountable to what you hired them to do. In our society, we tend to be personality driven, and
Right.
a lot of what gets people elected is personality, it's charisma. But once they are in the job, there has to be the same level of energy. There has to be the same level of engagement in holding the people accountable to the job description. So it's not so much about the person, so much as it is the policy. And people of faith, people of no faith have to keep at the forefront of their minds, this is what I hired you for. And I'm more
Right.
with the policy than I am with the person. And I'm going to be a bigger nag to you after you get into the position than I was while you were on the path to getting the position.
That's good, Pastor. Man, that's 100 right there. Go ahead, Colin, with your comment.
This is Brother Knight Antonio from Martindale Brightwood in the Young Men Incorporated program. How you doing?
Good, sir. How are you?
All right. Hey, I agree with the pastor, what he talked about. A couple things. One, he was talking about we need to get a big pool, and I don't know if he's aware of the African American Legacy Fund and Brother Marshawn Wally, but you might want to get him on. And so that is what they're trying to do, trying to get a big pool of money. And then I want to let people know out there that if you want to volunteer and help, there's 4 organizations that have been around for over 20 years, 2 specifically working with young African-American males, Young Men Incorporated and the OK program, and then 2 that work with African-American males and African-American young ladies, the St. Florian Center and Douglas Little League. And you can just Google all those in Indianapolis and even the African-American Legacy Fund. And so what the pastor is saying, I just want to let people know some of those things are happening here in Indianapolis. People may not know about it, but Google those 5 organizations, join them. Any young man, I found out that any African-American males who usually come on and say other African-American males are not doing anything, they're usually ones that are not doing anything themselves. Because like you know, Antonio, those of us that are doing things, we meet other young men that are giving back to the community and helping. And like you said, some guys are in prison, so we got to reach out and be fathers to them. We can't just say it's all on them, because that's just an excuse, and that means you're not doing anything. No matter what the reason why somebody's not being a father, we can step up and help mentor and be fathers to some. So all you guys who are out there complaining, I don't mind you complaining, but come on the air, tell me what 2 groups you're helping to mentor, and then complain. But don't just come on and complain without telling me what group you're involved in with helping. So I know you out there, Brother Antonio. I didn't get on listen until like 6:28. I did not get to hear you name who the pastor is that's talking.
Pastor Jerry.
So if you don't mind saying who he is.
Yeah, it's Pastor Jerry Davis. It's Pastor Jerry Davis. He's from the Crossroads Church located here in Indianapolis. And I want to say this to you, sir.
Brother Davis, this is Tony and I work with Kim and Danita with the Crown Hill Neighborhood Association.
Yeah.
Davis, you need to talk about your the little thing at the center by Martha, the Cheney Center. Let people know about that, Brother Davis. Let them know about the Cheney Center, that parents that need help during this virtual time with help, because I think they gave money to the Cheney Center to help. I hope they did anyway during this time. So let Brother Davis talk about the Cheney Center.
Yeah, he'll talk about that. Before you go, I just want me and you, huh?
Is this Tony?
Say your name again, sir.
Tony Knight. I work with the
Tony Knight, yeah.
Crown Hill Neighborhood Association.
I work with Anita with the Crown Hill Neighborhood Association Board, and so we know Brother Davis from because Crossroads has two churches, the one at 32nd and Capitol and the one at 46 and College.
Right. Well, I appreciate you, Tony Knight, right?
Correct.
Man, God bless you. Thank you for the work that you're doing. I'm going to continue to talk with Pastor. We got a number of different things that we're trying to do. And one of the things I think I'm going to talk to the pastor about, because I think this is a unique opportunity here. I know Mashawn may be doing something on one level, but I would like to hear how the faith-based community collectively is coming together and primarily trying to see how we can get on one accord. I'm going to say this to you because I know you got to go, and I'm going to jump back on with the pastor. But right now, what I am doing is actually growing facial hair. I'm looking real scruggly right now, but I'm letting it grow out. And the reason why I'm not shaving is because I want to kind of keep the light on African-American males and homicide rate going down here in the city of Indianapolis, because you know just as well as I do, so many things come up with this being the 12th largest city in America that you can easily forget about the homicides. And we need to figure out how we can hold our elected officials and others accountable to help this homicide rate go down. So thank you for what you're doing on the convention side, but we also want to remember those who have lost their lives. I think we just had a shooting today, and then I think they're investigating 2 other shootings that's taking place over in some type of apartment complex. So let's keep them in your prayers, and let's see how we can collaboratively work together and unify and be on one accord. God bless you for calling in.
God bless.
All right. Hey, Pastor, would you like to elaborate on that? You said something about the Cheney Center, and also I want to talk about Indiana reentry as well.
Sure. It is great to hear from I have been working together around the Neighborhood Association. I understand he also does great work in the Martindale Brightwood neighborhood. He said that he agreed with the idea that we need to bring organizations together and to pool our resources as we pursue the funds needed to move the needle. He suggested that I connect with Marshawn Wally, I believe, of the African American Legacy Fund of Indianapolis. It just so happens, though, that the first lady of Crossroads AME Church, my wife, Kiana Davis, is a founding member of the African American Legacy Fund of Indianapolis. So I am intimately aware of the great work that they are doing, and I'm a member of that organization myself on the membership committee. We're very excited about the work that is taking place there. We also want to speak to the work that is taking place in the Martindale Brightwood community at the Carlton S. and Jenny Cheney Micro Learning Center. We affectionately refer to it as the Cheney Center. The Cheney Center is the pilot property of an initiative we call the Micro Learning Center. A Micro Learning Center is simply a vacant house that has been transformed into a community center. The idea is for vacant and abandoned homes to be renovated and to be used by small nonprofits that do not have the finances to purchase or even rent their own space. But you can timeshare a house that's been renovated to serve those who live closest to what were abandoned properties. We're really happy with the work that is taking place at the Cheney Micro Learning Center, even as our kids are not able to go into their schools. The people at the good people at the Mind Trust have reached out to organizations to see who might open their doors for kids who are not able to go to their own schools. And so among the 22 sites that have been selected to serve kids for this second shutdown, beginning tomorrow, as a matter of fact. Crossroads AME Church, our property, our campus at 46th and College was selected as one of the sites, as we were for the previous shutdown. And the Cheney Center has been selected as well, specifically the Nikki Blaine Learning Center, operating out of the Cheney Center, will be another site right there in the Martindale Brightwood neighborhood, 2415 Dr. Angel J. Brown, just south of 25th and Dr. Angel J. Brown. Very happy for the work that is taking place there. And Antonio, as I anticipate you'll shift us to this conversation on reentry, as the Cheney Center came to be, it was established as a resource, again, just south of 25th and Dr. Angel J. Brown. The first program we actually ran out of that house was a program to process expungements. And that was in partnership at the time with the Black Law Students Association of the Indiana University Law School, the students downtown. So Antonio, it's just, as I've been saying all year since we've met and been talking, it's just been great to meet you and to learn of your work with the reentry population, and looking forward to imagining what you and I and so many others who are already doing great work can come together to do to make a difference.
Awesome, Pastor. I am so excited about that. Now, I don't know if you know it or not, but I live walking distance from that house.
Oh, my.
Yeah, I actually live, I'm not going to give my address, but I live on Sangster, 2800 block in Sangster.
Wow.
When I play with my son, I walk him over to the Douglas Park there to play and whatnot. And I've seen that house. I didn't know what was going on in there. I know it was like a bumblebee, people coming in and out. And I'm glad it's something that's done spectacular in there instead of the in and out I'm used to with houses over there. So, it's amazing the idea that you have. And actually, I've been talking with Sister Robin about getting an MOU to kind of work together with this organization called Indiana Reentry that we have. And I want to show you I don't know if you've seen it before, but I actually have a website of this Indiana Reentry program where we're actually looking to help individuals who have been incarcerated to actually have an opportunity to work with local construction companies. So we got direct enrollment. As a matter of fact, any person that wants to enroll in our program is simply go on this site, Indiana Reentry site, or my MCC site, and you'll see the enrollment tab where a person can just put in their information. Of course, there's a legal assistance tab right there waiting on us, Pastor, which I've been hoping I can build out and talking to attorneys, trying to make sure and see how we can get the Cheney Center on there. I think that would just be a phenomenal opportunity. So all of this is kind of like in the making. And, of course, we'll come back on and we'll talk about how we can build this out. But I just wanted to show our website to our Facebook family as well as our YouTube family. And those who are listening right now, we're getting ready to go to the end of our show, but I want you to see how, as well, I say this, if you want to be a part of the Cheney Center, how would they be able to reach out as far as the Cheney Center? And can you give specific details as to what services that the Cheney Center is providing currently?
Absolutely. So at this time, the work that we are engaged in is serving students K through 12 and IPS who are not able to enter into their own buildings. You can actually visit the Mind Trust website in order to know how to register your child if space is available. Beyond that, if you go to CSJCheneyMLC.com, It is there where you can find the website of the Carlton and Jenny Chaney Micro Learning Center. Again, that is CSJ Chaney, CHANEYMLC.com. Is there where you can get more information on the Chaney Center. There you will find an announcement for turkeys and toys giveaway on Saturday, November the 21st from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. We are in partnership with the Oasis of Hope Baptist Church, and that is where the event will take place. We are also in partnership with the Indiana Pacers and Jax Pacific, Oasis of Hope CDC, of course, the Chaney Micro Learning Center. The phone number to call for more information is 317-925-6970. Again, 317-925-6970.
Wow, I think this is really awesome. And I want you all that are listening, this in the Martindale Brightwood area, which I'm actually a resident of Martindale Brightwood. So I'm feeling pretty good about this. I feel a little more safe now that, this opportunity has come about. And let us know. I mean, if you got some kids or adults that need training, need opportunities as far as employment, some of these opportunities are going up to about $18 an hour. You have any of those that need to sign up for services as far as you say District 150 and need children to be signed up due to the COVID virus? Hey, feel free to just let us know, because we're just excited about serving, Pastor. Sometimes, we get so much opportunity there, it's just hard to find everybody to pick it up. So, Pastor, as we conclude our show, is there any final remarks that you would like to make as we've got about 2 minutes left?
Teamwork makes the dream work. Let's come together. Let's not find ourselves simply competing for the same limited dollars. Let's come together and use the power of the team, power of unity, to move the needle in our city.
Well, God bless you, Pastor. I do want to say that I do, as I'm talking, I have my mother who's actually struggling for her life on life support as we speak. So can we have a quick word of prayer for not only for her, but for others that are suffering, with sicknesses, and as well as those that are struggling through this COVID virus? Can we have about a 30-minute prayer, and then we'll probably be going off the air after that?
Lord, we bless you. We celebrate you, our creator and sustainer and healer. We lift up, Lord, those who are sick. We lift up those who are grieving. We commend them into your hands as the great physician and great comforter. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. God bless you, Pastor. And I look forward to working with you. I got my security guy here. He come every week to help and support me. And he's a pastor over at church, Robert Jackson. He comes to listen every week. So it's good always to have good friends with support. All right. So this concludes our show here today. Black Power Presents. God bless you, Pastor. And we look forward to reporting back to you guys all the different additional things we'll do together. All right, Pastor, have a great week, and blessings to Crossroads and all the members. Have a wonderful, wonderful week.
Thank you. You too. God bless you.
God bless you.